Welcome to the Orasta channel. In this video, I will explain the story of the Donghua series SwallowedStar, Season 2, Episode 72. In the previous episode, we saw how cruelly the Golden Horned monster destroyed all American ship crews and military ports. Mo Henderson, as the leader of this military port, is working hard to find a way to kill the Golden Horned. But this monster is very strong. Even a laser cannon that could hurt an Emperor-level monster was unable to hurt a Golden Horned monster. As a result, in this battle, the American military could not do anything. Hong and the God of Thunder, Lei Shen, asked all the warriors around the world to gather in the virtual world of the Palace of the God of War and immediately hold a meeting to discuss the matter. But because there are some people who do not know the condition of the Americans, Mo Henderson then showed the footage he had obtained. It was clear that no one could stop the Golden Horned monster. And finally, after killing all of the best warriors and soldiers, the monster ate up the whole military harbor until there was nothing left. Here, the warriors and higher-ups who were in the palace of the war god were shocked to see what had happened. Here, Luo Feng was both worried and angry because he hadn't thought that the human race on Earth would be hit so quickly by a disaster that had never happened before. Without further ado, let's get right to the story. At the beginning of the episode, we saw an invitation to a face-to-face meeting sent to all the elders in the palace of the war god. It came from the 4 largest countries and the largest organization in the HR Alliance. The goal here is to get the war god palace and the 5 world leaders to meet together. Once before, these 5 leaders also got together for a meeting. Hong had told them all about this disaster so that they could work out a plan together. Hong was also curious about America's current situation and inquired of the American president, who turned out to be under the leadership of the Golden Horned monster. Several sea monsters had made their way into the mainland to enter the city center. Not only that, there were other monsters that formed a group to attack separately. As a result of all that, at least 4 military port bases had been destroyed by the monsters, and more than 210,000 soldiers had died. When Lei Shen heard the news, he immediately gave an answer if the 2 monsters at the Emperor's level joined the attack. Even though the 2 monsters hadn't shown up yet, when they did, it would be an even bigger disaster. Lei Shen's conclusion left everyone at the meeting place shocked. Because if the 2 Emperor beasts were involved, then it was certain that the conditions would result in even more casualties. Because we know that those 2 Emperor-level monsters never showed themselves because of Lei Shen and Hong. That's why the 2 sea monsters wouldn't dare fight on land. But, because the current state of affairs in America is chaotic, if the 2 Emperor beasts attack now, then it will be more terrible, and what is certain is that no one can stop the disaster. Following that, Hong requested that information be gathered as soon as possible in order to prevent undesirable events. Especially since warriors still don't know anything about this mysterious monster. Because of that, Hong asked for information about the origin of the appearance of the Golden Horned monster. Here the Chinese president directly responds. Based on the information obtained by the Chinese state, that there is some kind of life in the cosmos that perfectly matches the characteristics of this monster. After careful consideration and careful thought about this matter, in the end, the Chinese state will unseal the secret documents that it has to inform other parties about. Based on that response, it explained about Secret Archive number 7. Then Commander Li's explanation gave more details, saying that his party had been doing research and exploring the long-term movements of monsters in the ocean. And we know that there will always be a mystery in every vast ocean. During this research period, the Chinese country accidentally discovered ancient civilization number 2 in the sea. In the ancient relic number 2, the Chinese found several records of the existence of extraterrestrial beings. This data indicates that there are characteristics of space monsters that are extremely rare and dangerous. Although the existence of a monster is weak at first, after reaching adulthood it will become a universe-level monster. And that monster was called a starry sky behemoth type monster.
星空巨兽
After the warriors and people in the war god's palace heard the information, suddenly became very surprised and wondered. Having never heard of any information regarding the name, Starry Sky Behemoth. Commander Li again explained that there were different kinds of Starry Sky Behemoth monsters. And the monster is in the Devour type category and has the ability to devour everything to strengthen its strength and speed. The monster also has the ability to devour everything to speed up its evolution. Hong was curious about how strong this monster was after hearing all that. And does this monster's growth have a level? And has this monster also gotten to the level of the universe? Commander Li also answered, according to the data that was examined. If the monster is already around 10,000 body length, it has reached universe level. While the monsters that attacked them were only 180 meters away. So scientists think that the monster is at the level of a star traveler at level 8 or level 9. It is even possible that it could be even higher than the star traveler level, namely the star level. Hong wrinkled his eyes and said, "This is the first time an Earthling has encountered a star-grade monster." Here, the other warriors were surprised and asked about Star's cultivation level. Because we know that most warriors are at the war god level and below, most of them still don't know the information on cultivation levels after cultivation levels at the star traveler level. Whereas the elders had started to understand the information from Leader Hong and Commander Li. M.O. Henderson, hearing this, made himself remember the painful tragedy that his army and its allies had experienced. He, who was covered in feelings of revenge, felt unacceptable and asked to immediately determine what action they should take. M.O. Henderson also feels that the victims in his country will continue to increase if it is left like this. Hong also explained that the War God Palace's information department was currently collecting data and analyzing the monster's strength in each battle. After seeing the results, they were very surprised after seeing the flight speed numbers that were owned by the Golden Horned Monster, which had a top speed of 14,899 meters per second, which is equivalent to 33,328 miles per hour. Even the world leaders were also very surprised because, after all, that monster was 2 to 3 times faster than Lei Shen or Hong. What's more, we know that the monster has unreasonable movement control. If you look at it, the monster can stop after carrying out high-speed movements, which are like having teleportation skills repeatedly, making it difficult to attack. Luo Feng, who knew how fast he could fly, seemed to make himself look slow. Even though he had the mental mastery of a 3-star traveler, he wasn't fast enough to keep up with the monster. Even if he used the Heaven Forbid shuttle, he couldn't go faster than 5,000 meters per second. Atkin judged based on the data Hong had and after seeing the chronology of the fights carried out by M.O. Henderson and his troops. Then, in his opinion, humanity would have no chance of defeating this monster known as Starry Sky Behemoth. Hearing all of that made all of the warriors in the palace of the God of War lose their fighting spirit. M.O. Henderson sat back down and felt helpless about the skills he had.
人类要正面对抗星空巨兽。
Luo Feng, who heard this, also felt shocked and immediately entered the Red Castle's storage room on his right arm. Here, Luo Feng asked a sleeping Babata. While Babata was yawning, Luo Feng immediately showed the recording that was in front of Babata. When Babata opened his eyes and saw the shape of the monster, she immediately gasped. Babata was curious how Luo Feng could get the tape. Babata, who was told by Luo Feng, brought news that a monster had appeared on Earth. Made Babata even more confused, and she did not believe that the monster was on planet Earth at this time. Because, after all, she had traveled the universe with Master Huyen Bo for more than 60 million years. Master Huyen Bo himself had only met 3 powerful beasts of the Starry Sky Behemoth type. Not even a high bloodline like in the video. Babata couldn't believe what she saw. Because high-level bloodlines are hard to find. Because of this, Luo Feng asked Babata to tell him more about this. Babata also explained that this monster, whose origin is still mysterious, has 2 different types of bloodlines. Specifically, the first type is the Flame Star Behemoth, which can emit flames, and the other is the golden horned behemoth, which emits laser bursts like those on Earth. But there is a difference on Earth, which is more aggressive. From the conclusion that Babata gave, it indicates that, if the Earth has been confirmed to have experienced a horrific event and been destroyed, along with the entire planet, there is nothing left. When Luo Feng heard what Babata had to say, he was very surprised. Because if that monster was not stopped, Luo Feng and all of his relatives would probably all die. Luo Feng, who was angry and didn't want to accept that fact, thought that all of civilization, history, religion, wars, world wonders, a country, and people's struggles to stay alive on Earth would have been for nothing. As if it would just go away right in front of him. Even Luo Feng thought that even the country of China was like an infinitesimal drop of water when viewed from the vastness of the universe he already knew. Luo Feng was unwilling to accept all of this if left alone. For most of the population on Earth, China is the largest. So if something happens to his homeland, then all the struggling he has been doing is in vain. So, deep down in Luo Feng's heart, the monster he was about to face had to die. He wouldn't let that happen, so he kept trying everything he could to quickly defeat the golden horned monster, even though his win rate was only 1%. Babata here was trying to wake up Luo Feng, whom he thought was reckless in his decision. After all, the golden horned beast was a galactic overlord beast in the universe, soon to be at the universe level. So Luo Feng, who was still at the 3rd star traveler level, shouldn't made any trouble with this monster. Even though Luo Feng already had all the inheritance from Huyen Bo, however, based on the bloodline rankings in the universe, the golden horned beast also possessed an extremely high bloodline and was extremely powerful. So to be able to beat him was just a dream. Babata continued to explain that if conditions are dangerous on Earth, Luo Feng was able to evacuate himself and his family into the meteorite star plane stored in his arm. Because the airship possessed extraordinary resistance, even warriors at the level of the universe would not be able to scratch it. So the monster wouldn't be able to devour it. Luo Feng took a deep breath to tell Babata that we know she is just an artificial intelligence that doesn't understand human social nature and is only driven by his logical nature. Here Luo Feng also explained that all human beings on Earth were created as social beings who could not live alone. In life, everyone needs to interact and needs someone's help in their daily life. Because of that, it means nothing if he and only his family live. Because maintaining the human population on Earth is the key to his form of happiness and his family. So Luo Feng thought the Earth was a root, his country was a tree trunk, and she was a leaf. But the tree's trunk and leaves can't live if the roots die. This means that the Earth is a symbol of the foundation of life, which needs to be taken care of so that people can live together. And make it possible for people to live on the land they love. Babata finally realized the meaning of human life on Earth. But in fights with monsters that are too strong, she also still hadn't found the right solution to avoid risking Luo Feng's life and Master Huyen Bo's legacy. Luo Feng, who had no other way, suggested that if he felt that he was still unable to fight against that monster, there might be a weapon that could annihilate it. While thinking, Babata finally had an idea that helped him beat the monster. If that monster is still at the star level, its presence in a galaxy is already strong enough. Whereas warriors who were at the universe level with just their bodies could fight against an interstellar fleet's battle troop. Because of that, most interstellar fleets are usually equipped with deadly weapons to be able to defeat warriors at the universe level. Likewise, to kill creatures that are at the star level also requires a deadly weapon. But the process of making these weapons takes a long time. So at this point, Babata's idea to kill the Golden Horde monster has not been confirmed to be successful. Because, at its current strength, the monster can exterminate all life on Earth in a month. Especially if Babata's position is capable of producing the weapon on time. But there is a drawback. Namely that the weapon must have an abundant energy source to be able to operate it. And if the weapon can be operated, its position must also be close to the target, which is logically impossible given the speed possessed by the Golden Horned monster. But Babata has another option, namely making a deadly weapon that is suitable for killing these monsters. Although the material is from the fleet, the remains of ancient ruins on Earth have long been unused and damaged. But with Babata, all of that can be done. And to be able to mobilize these weapons to be used, Babata has the idea to modify them so that these weapons can be used easily. But it all came back with luck. From the options for making weapons to destroy creatures that are at the star level, Babata judges that these weapons are strong enough for the category of interstar combat fleets. For example, the main headquarters of the Extreme Martial Club, which is located in outer space, has a fleet category that is only used for transportation. However, in terms of the weapons that the fleet has, in general, it has very weak weapons, according to Babata. Here Luo Feng also asked Babata to check the actual strength of the golden horned behemoth currently attacking the Earth. Because according to Luo Feng, the information from the previous meetings in the War God Palace was still not confirmed as the truth. And this episode is over. So, those are the details of the story from episode 72. Even though the original duration was short, there are many plots that must be understood in order to make the audience even more curious about the storyline. And in the next episode, I will explain the interesting details in episode 73. If you like my video explanation, please like and subscribe so that my channel can grow. See you next my video, bye.